Welcome back to Jersey Matters. When you picture someone who would go to a food bank, who do you see? Chances are whatever image you're thinking about right now is absolutely correct, but it's also absolutely wrong. To explain that, here is Carlos Rodriguez, President and CEO of Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And I phrased it that way because they're probably correct, whatever they saw, but that's only a small part of the picture.
That's exactly right. When you think about who's hungry in New Jersey, the best picture is to picture neighbor. Because it really, when you're talking about 900,000 New Jerseyans, it crosses every demographic across the state.
But you don't even need that number. You have anecdotal evidence that you're right. You see these people every day.
We see families, we see the children, we see the seniors, veterans that fall onto hard times and are having a hard time making ends meet.
And I would think that even though 900,000 seems like such a big number, the people that actually go to the food bank, it might be that number, but the people who could use the food bank is probably even greater than that. Are there people that don't go because they're afraid of the stigma, they don't want to be embarrassed?
How many folks, I can't tell you how many folks we meet that say, you know, I don't want to take everything I need because I want to leave some for the next person. So there's a sense of humility and yes, stigma. What did I do wrong to fall on hard times?
And they say that?
And they do say that, and they think that way. And so the message today is you're not alone. There's over 1 million individuals, New Jerseyans, that struggle to make ends meet. And it's understandable when you're having such a hard time making basic needs that food would be one of them.
Does the number go up and down based on the economy?
So, you know, we have a good tailwind perhaps because we have a strong economy, yet food insecurity, which is how we measure how many are hungry at any given point, has been stubbornly around 10% for as many years.
Why is that?
Because the cost of living really is what drives need in our state and really throughout our country.
And wages.
And wages. So wages and expenses, right? So expenses keep going up and they outpace our wages.
So you might have people that are making what some might think is a decent living, or maybe people that are working 2 jobs to make ends meet, and it doesn't quite make ends meet.
And that's exactly the story. When we first started doing this as an organization 45 years ago, maybe 3% of the families had a member working. Today, more than half of the families that we see through our network of pantries have at least one person working.
That's got to be so frustrating.
It is frustrating.
To work and then not have the means still to even make sure that there's food on your table.
That's exactly right. And it keeps our society from thriving and from being as successful as it can be. Because a good worker shouldn't be hungry. A student should not go hungry. You need the fuel of nourishment to really create success.
Now, I know you're year-round, but this time of year is big for food banks because everybody, for some reason, they all get concerned about Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, that everybody deserves a Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. So I know that, or I would think, you can tell me, that your contributions would go up this time of year. It's probably important because it helps with food throughout the year.
That's exactly right. There are no leftovers at a food bank. There's just another day to distribute food. And we count on this giving season to be able to fuel our efforts year round.
Does it go substantially up this time of year?
This is when most of our giving comes in. And I think that's true for so many not-for-profits. But for us in particular, we want to be able to, as we're being thankful for what we have, we want to remind our neighbors that there are many others who don't have the basic necessities, not just during the holiday season, but year round.
Do you give out turkeys?
We give out turkeys, over 25,000 turkeys and roasters combined, because we like variety. And Thanksgiving for us starts back in April, when we start putting in some orders and working with partners to make sure that we have what we can distribute throughout the holiday season.
I noticed that when I was doing some research on the food bank, I noticed on November 9th you had a volunteer day. I would imagine you have those volunteer days to get volunteers year-round, not just on that day. Does it work?
It does work. So we have volunteers year-round, and we encourage you not to scramble for your Thanksgiving volunteer opportunity, but come back to us in January when there are less people coming in. Throughout the year, we have volunteers to the tune of 115,000 volunteer hours.
So you wouldn't exist without them?
We could not do what we do, sort the food, get it into boxes and get it into the hands of our 1,000 network partners, pantries, soup kitchens, in every community throughout the state if it wasn't for volunteers.
And how do you become a volunteer?
It's so simple. Just visit our website, cfbnj.org, and learn about how you can give not just your time, but your voice and some of your treasure as well.
Well, when you say your treasure, it could be money, but it could also, you take food?
We do take food, absolutely. Food drives that we can help coordinate, not just for us, but for the local pantries in your very own community. But we also do take funds, and for every dollar provided to the food bank, it supports up to 3 meals.
So are you doing okay? Is the food bank doing okay?
So the food bank is doing as well as we can, but the problem is outpacing our ability. And I think that's why we provide food for the need today, but are also looking at strategies that can help that underlying reason or help chip away at the underlying reason of why our neighbors are hungry.
So I'm sure that there's people that want to help. Give the phone number and give the website again.
So the website is cfbnj.org, and that's the best way to reach us and find out. You can even give online.
Okay, and well, you could even Google it.
You can even
Food
Google
Bank
it,
in
yes.
New Jersey. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Larry.
Carlos Rodriguez, President and CEO of Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Still to come on Jersey Matters, an historic bell that has been silent for decades is ringing again. We'll tell you where it is when Jersey Matters continues.